What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Monday, everybody. It's February the 2nd. We have a couple of things to talk about today. One of them is going to be a recent interview that Tucker Carlson did with AJ Gentile from the Y-Files. AJ is just opening his new podcast called The Basement, which is going to be essentially competition for Joe Rogan, Julian Dory, and Danny Jones, and all of those people. The very first interview he's going to have is going to be Timothy Hogan, the Grandmaster Templar that I just covered recently. And I know that a lot of you guys are not happy with a lot of the statements that he made. I apologize for the dogs outside. I can't control that. But he was recently with Tucker, and I think that they covered a bunch of really interesting topics. Along the topics they cover is that the science community and why they refuse to admit they were wrong, and the US government's knowledge and use of advanced technology. But they did cover a lot of the pyramids, giants, US government suppression about a lot of that, the Great Flood. They covered remote viewing, they covered the Apollo mission. So it's a really cool podcast. I'm going to leave it in the description so you guys can check it out. But let's go to the one where they talk about President Donald Trump's involvement in secret technology from the US government. And just check out what AJ said this, and you got to check out what. So you can bet your ass that Tucker, who has access to President Trump, will ask him about this. And this ties into one of the craziest and most wild and surreal rabbit holes that you can think of, which is that famous Politico article about Ingersoll Lockwood. And I was shed on for a while after I reported on that. It's about a writer from the early 1900s who talks about a kid named Baron Trump and his time traveling adventures. And the second book after that one is called The Last President. Yeah, that's a real thing. Unless it's not, right? I don't know if the Politico person who wrote that piece, I don't know if they maybe wrote it as passage material, as Corbell says. I have no idea. But that rabbit hole is incredible. And I think that this also ties into the whole story of scientists being silenced because they made discoveries that go against the petrodollar and the establishment and all that. That is well documented and it happens to many scientists. And I don't think it's just about the free energy. I think it's about any type of research that goes against the establishment, which I've covered here ad nauseum. Consciousness research, the one that Jacobo did, how he disappeared mysteriously, how nobody knows what happened to him, how what he was essentially doing with the transfer potential experiment was trying to prove that quantum entanglement was real, but between human minds. That's what he was trying to prove. And I think he got really close. And I think that could have been one of the reasons why he disappeared. And I'm happy that something like the Epstein files finally dropped, a lot of them, because a lot of those conversations between elites clearly tell you that they were also very interested in those topics. It wasn't just us. And I've always wondered, why are elites, and I use this word just to describe them, a lot of these people, I've always wondered why they've always stayed quiet about these topics. Why, if there are so many of them who allegedly are experiencers or are interested in these topics, why don't they speak up? Well, the Epstein files kind of prove why. And these stories of scientists being silenced are also another example of why they don't really talk about it, because the establishment and the powers that be will do anything to keep those secrets at bay. So that rabbit hole from John G. Trump and all of those scientists who were silenced, I think are probably one of the reasons why somebody like Dylan Borland is not talking about the specific power source that Jeremy Corbell alluded to in their interview.
I have direct first-hand knowledge and exposure to crash recovery, reverse engineering, integration of technology into
redacted,
as well as the most important piece of technology on the planet, and it's not the craft themselves.
It would be the power source.
You can make that assessment
Just
yourself.
He also spoke about this archaeological find of a tic-tac shaped object.
I think what we are dealing with is very, very, very old. I think old humans have written those down in religious stories. I think that it's quite clear that we have been influenced by something else. These things, whatever they are probably what are referred to as gods or demons or angels or jinn, or insert whatever cultural or religious perspective you have. There are probably also extraterrestrials. It's not a one size fits all. And considering, humanity has the same stories across many cultures: a flood, crafts that are in the sky, things that are coming and helping humans. And I'm at an advantage and a disadvantage knowing certain information that relates very clearly to things that are around the world that are related to what I know. I don't think that's by pure coincidence or luck. I think that the people that are in these programs know the truth to this stuff, and they are looking at it through a lens of, this is true, this is true, this is true. This has been here for 8,000 years. This has been here for 4,000 years. Oh, we dug up this at an archaeological dig in, hypothetically, Egypt. My big picture idea is it's been here for a very long time. It goes by many names. It's many different things. And it has an influence on all of us.
I don't know if that thing is linked to this power source that Dylan Borland is talking about, but something that I found really interesting was this toroidal sort of device that AJ spoke about, because I don't know if you guys are aware of Bob Greenyer's work and about these toroidal moments that he talks about. And I've been looking into many of the lectures that Bob Greenyer puts out and how he discusses this type of physics and this type of energy. And I think that people should look into that way more than they are. There's a lot of people that are not looking into Bob Greenyer's work or other type of work that is similar to that. And I know that, for example, Ross recently spoke about the US government already having this type of free energy unlocked and using it for classified programs.
It defies explanation that the United States, which expends trillions of dollars every year on national defense, would not have made huge advances in aerospace technology, particularly if, as we believe, they've recovered non-human craft and had them since at least the 1950s. I do think that there is a strong probability that the United States has developed some type of electrogravitic propulsion, if not some kind of energy system derived from zero-point energy. Why are they keeping that secret? I have no idea. But are they going to make an announcement? Not anytime soon, I suspect.
So the smoke is clearly there. We just need more confirmation, I think. And excuse me if I sound naive here, but I honestly never thought that these files were going to drop. And now that they did, I do have a little more hope that maybe we might get some of that information out about new physics, new technology, classified programs that were put to bed at a certain point or shelved. And maybe now they could see the light of day. I hope so. It's wishful thinking, I know, but honestly, a lot of you didn't think that these files were going to drop. And when they did, the world collectively is in shock, and more information keeps coming out and keeps coming out. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments, because I'm very interested to know where this is going to take us. And what do you think about Tucker Carlson's face when he was talking to AJ? I could see the little hamster inside of his head going, I'm definitely going to ask Trump about this, because they talk often. And Trump has been, very, very proud of his uncle, who was an MIT professor. But also, nobody has ever asked him about this stuff. And nobody has ever asked him about that Politico article about Ingersoll Lockwood. And it would be interesting to ask him about that. I don't know if you guys agree, but if I was Tucker, I would be all over this and trying to find out what's going on. And clearly, I think, despite or whatever you feel about Tucker, I do think that there came a time when he realized that he had made mistakes during the Iraq War and the coverage that he made. And he has been talking about how apologetic he feels about that. I'm always okay with somebody who's sorry and who really genuinely repents for past transgressions. And I think that Tucker did that, even though I still don't agree with a lot of what he says quite often. I do think that he is seeking truth to a certain extent. So I want to hear if he ever asks Trump about this. Hopefully he does it in a public setting and see what's up. I don't know if any new information will come out of this. I don't even know if Tucker will ask him about this, but we'll see what happens. And about that Zodiac episode, I get that some people probably don't link this mention of Zodiac in the Epstein files to the Zodiac UFO secret group, but I thought it was an interesting correlation that appeared in the files. And there aren't many Zodiac groups out there. And some of the people that were mentioned there are part of some of the most important and powerful places within the US. So, and it's media, it's defense, it's all that. So I don't know. You guys can make up your own minds. So let me know what you think about the overall interview. I'm going to leave a link in the description to all of it so you can check it out. It was really interesting. And yeah, let me know what you think about Tucker's reaction when he was told this. He didn't know, clearly. So now he has that little bug in his head that he's probably going to get to ask Trump about this. And I hope that he's public when he asks, and whatever response he gets, I hope so. Let me know what you think. I'll be reading. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most, so thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can also become a member on YouTube. You can also become a member on Patreon. We have merch on Patreon. Depending on the tier, you get a merch item sent to your home after 3 months. Or you can also give us a review on Spotify. We were just accepted to the Spotify Partner Program, and we do need your help to get into the English-speaking algorithm. That only works if you subscribe to Spotify, if you leave us a comment, if you leave us a review. All of that will help so we can keep growing. Or you can also support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated, so thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like AJ Gentile from the Y-Files. Always. Bye.